Hello, thank you for tuning in today. I hope this message finds you well. I hope this video finds you well. I hope you're staying safe and staying, just, I hope you're doing good. But yeah, I wanted to do the February energy reading for today. This is just going to give us kind of like messages that we might need in February. It's going to give us some insight into some of the emotions we might be feeling or some of the themes that we might be dealing with in the world right now, or just, I don't know if it's in the world, but in your own personal world. So let's look at these cards here that I've already pulled, and then I do have the deck here, so I could pull some extra ones too if I feel called to. Let's see. So first of all, you have the Five of Cups, and we're going to talk about it. I feel like it's very nuanced energy. Like when I'm sitting with this energy already. So let's see. Then we have the Nine of Pentacles, but this Nine of Pentacles has a very interesting imagery next to the Five of Cups. And then let's see. We have the Queen of Pentacles, and we have the Ace of Cups. I hope I can show that. Hmm. Um, and then you have the Empress, which is like really interesting that you have a pregnant woman and like breast milk there. I'm not sure if some of you are like thinking about starting families or thinking about like, if it's not like literal childbirth, it's like what you can birth and bring into the world. But let's talk about it. So, this is our February energy that we're dealing with, and the thing that I'm kind of seeing here is there's definitely this stillness taking place, and I'm kind of getting the feeling that like with this stillness, it's like you almost feel like you're being held in place, or you almost feel like it's like there's a force that's keeping you where you are. So if I'm just going off the vibe that these cards give me, it's like, you know, you could be feeling really stagnant. And the truth is, I don't feel like stagnant is the word that you would use. It's more like you're staying very still right now. Things are really like eerily quiet around you almost. Like maybe, there's not a lot going on with work, or maybe there's, more time for downtime. Or it's like you could also be experiencing, this like feeling that you need to rest, or feeling that you need to ground, feeling that you need to um, kind of just be where you are in this moment. I feel like there's kind of this theme that I'm seeing though, where like, so it's going to be different for everyone on what these things, mean. Because for some people, it could be that you're in the process of building something for yourself, and at this time things are pretty quiet, and you're just feeling kind of like, still. But at the same time, like I'm drawn to the Five of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles, and the thing that I'm kind of picking up here is like, no matter what this is about in your life, I feel like there has been disappointments. There's been like things that you were really hopeful about, but then it's like they surprised you and they just didn't turn out the way that you wanted them to. And the truth is, like, I feel like you've had kind of these ideas, or these things that you've wanted to have work out a certain way, and then it's like when they don't work out that way, it's like you feel that tension, you feel that like that disappointment essentially. And I keep hearing the phrase like you're going deep and digging deep to kind of like pull out the roots of the issue, or like to get to the root of the issue, so that you can really like put something behind you in a sense. Even though I don't really see anything here about like cycles ending, the Five of Cups is giving me this feeling of like I've been holding on to this pain. I've been internalizing like these situations. I've been making it my fault, or I've been and in some cases maybe it was your fault, but it's like you're shaming yourself in that process. It's not like, this isn't like a constructive way of digging deep. It's like this is a way of trying to dissect something that there's no answers to essentially. So it's kind of like you're trying to dig deep and find this answer, when really like there's this need for release in a sense. Because I can see this like Nine of Pentacles, it has a very like positive energy. Like, right, the Nine of Pentacles can be about your sacrifices that you've made, and things that like have really turned out for the better. You've like made, this is a very like rich spread, in terms of like the energy, it's very abundant, right? Like you have the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Cups, you have the Empress. It's very abundant in nature. But it's almost like that whatever has happened in the past, it's like it's stopping you from fully like seeing something that's in front of you, or seeing that, again, there just feels like there's something that you're trying to let go of, or something that you're trying to utilize in some way. I'm also getting this feeling, that if you've been going through the motions of starting something and maybe experiencing the disappointments, it's like, I feel like even for some of you, there's something very abundant, but like at the same time, it pains you to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like there's something about it that's like you have had to sacrifice, you have had to, make decisions that maybe, you look back on now and you're like, well, it worked out, but at what cost? Like that's kind of the energy that I'm picking up. And the thing is, like, it feels, I do the best when I'm explaining through, like, situationally. This doesn't have to be your exact situation, but just consider that, what the energy of what I'm saying. It kind of reminds me of, like, somebody who, they have a job and or they have a business, right? Like, they could have, like, some sort of business, or they've been working on some sort of solo project. And it's like, they get, really far into the project, and it's like, they might have been working on it for years even, and it's like you get to a certain point where you're like, well, is there like satisfaction here? Because the Nine of Pentacles can be kind of a hollow energy too. It can be someone who is really more focused on the material things. They're more focused on, I mean, yes, it's abundant in nature, but it's also like, just because you have everything that you've wanted, like, is there something deeper that is missing? That, like, the Ace of Cups comes in and it brings this like emotional satisfaction, it brings this emotional like weight to it, it gives like birth to it, it nurtures it, it like feeds it. And I feel like that's something that's been missing here, is like, you have this energy of like, you wanted something to be a certain way, but you're just not feeling that emotional attachment to it. And it could be like, if you've been working on a project for years, it's like you have to literally pause, reassess, and see like where that project is going, or which direction you want to bring it in. You know what I mean? I also feel like, this energy, it's like you have something but at a cost. And I feel like this sort of energy, like, this feeling like there's something missing, there's something hollow, there's something that is lacking in a sense. And like, not to, it's, I want to invite a culture here in this channel where like there's no lack mindset. Do you know what I mean? Because the truth is, like, everyone has experienced different backgrounds, right? And like, I feel like if you're putting this idea of something like, oh, I have a lack mindset, again, that goes into shaming, right? And it's like, there's nothing, like, if you feel like you are lacking something, that doesn't mean it's impossible to get that thing. You know what I mean? Like your belief in it doesn't need to determine whether or not you have it. Because as someone who's like worked with like life coach clients in the past, like, I've worked with people who make millions of dollars and they still have a lack mindset. So just because you have a lack mindset does not mean that you cannot achieve things, or that you cannot have things, or that that's not an actual stopper. Do you know what I mean? So when I say like you're feeling like you lack something, it's not like this curse you've bestowed upon yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's like more so there's something literally not there that you are wanting to be there. Like, there's literally something emotionally that you want to have in your grasp, and it's like you're going about this and you're just not getting it. And I feel like, you know, for a lot of people, like, it doesn't really matter, like, if it's a job or if it's like a project or if it's just like where you are in life in general. Like, there are tons of people who get to certain places and then just realize like there's something missing here. like like there's something that, I've given a part of myself away, and I want to bring it back. And I feel like there's a sense of like you're really protected right now, you really are very safe right now. Even though she's underwater, like, she doesn't look like she's panicking. Do you know what I mean? And I guess some people could say like, oh well, she's being weighed down by the gold, right? She's being like dragged under in some sense. But again, I feel like there is this sense of you're in a period right now where you're trying to figure this. I'm so sorry. You're trying to figure out like how to fill this gap, right? And I feel like that's what the stillness is bringing. Like that's why there is stillness, because you're trying to literally give birth to something, right? Like you're trying to have this whole new emotional experience. You're trying to have this like grounded, earthly, beautiful experience. Like these cards are truly beautiful. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, like, I feel as though this moment of stillness, this moment of like, okay, there's not a lot going on, or oh, I need to just stay still, it's like it's giving you space to have that fresh moment, that refreshing moment, that renewal that you need. And I feel like, this is something that for a lot of you, I feel like this is a project or a business or something, but I get the feeling that like, in the past, it's like you've been working towards it, but the why has been missing, like, why am I doing this? I'm going to just like share this story that I have about like how to know when something like gives you that, like, fills that gap. A lot of times, like, what ends up happening is we forget our why of why we're doing things. And, I was talking to my partner who has, a day job and has been wanting to change careers, right? And when we started talking about the reality of changing careers and like, like what that would insist, like what that would need and, what would follow, he said something to me that really changed my way of looking at why we do things and like having that awareness and how strong that awareness can be. Because he essentially described to me how, if all of society collapsed, what he would want to be doing in the little village that existed was being the person that people came to, shared their problems with, talked things out with, helped people in that sense. And if you really think about that, like that's such a wise knowing, like I want to, like that's like what fills his heart space. And so thinking about your own situation here, right? Like thinking about something is literally missing or something is hollow. It's like, I see a lot of things aren't missing, but it's like, this could be the energy of like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, but there's like a lack of emotional fulfillment. And I feel like, if you sit down and you really think like, this is like what I want to do, or this is like, if I was to show up without getting any benefit or reward, like what would I be doing? And like what emotional state does that bring you? You know what I mean? And I feel like again, it's not necessarily like on a material level. I feel like it goes deeper than that too, because this is like it's very deep energy of the Nine of Pentacles, which is funny because the Nine of Pentacles can be a very surface card. But the truth is, like I feel as though, you're really looking for this. You're looking for rooted creativity. You're looking for rooted like spirituality. You're looking for something that is, it's like you're following all the steps and like you're still feeling kind of empty. So it's like that stillness brings that realization, brings that kind of renewal, brings that like, excuse me, brings that energy towards you where you're like, I am solid, I am secure, I can create whatever I want here. And it's like then you create it, because this energy is very like, as you like progress through the month, right? Like there's just this energy of like birthing something literally. So maybe it's been, up till now you've been experiencing these energies, this kind of like lack of, something. But the thing is also like the Queen of Pentacles to me feels very present, and it's like maybe like I feel like you're okay with like sitting down. I feel like you're very aware that this stillness brings awareness into the deeper things. It brings awareness of what is like missing, for lack of a better word. And I feel like, that's kind of where you start to see this renewal. You start to see this like, oh, because I'm super drawn to like the water and the waves, and then like you can kind of see like there's like this water waves sort of energy. Maybe it's like trying to be a sky, but either way it like matches, right? And I just kind of notice how like you go from like being sucked under the water to kind of like pouring the water yourself. It's giving me star energy vibes. There's also just this feeling of like, again, being creative, creating the kind of life you want, creating the environment you want. There's a sense of looking at things that like what is missing, and then seeing like again what that is. And I feel like the Ace of Cups, it brings more than just like realization of something. It literally offers you something. It gives a gift to you. It gives something to you where you're like being nurtured. Your soul is being uplifted. Your energy is like being refilled. Your emotions are feeling more solid. It's like you go from kind of in this, oh, like that really, like, again, there's a disappointment. And I'm not going to say exactly what the disappointment was, but it's like whatever that disappointment was, however you experienced that lack, that feeling of like, something's missing. I feel like this really brings in that energy of like, okay, well, here, like, let's ground, like, let's literally root down, some of your creativity, some of your ideas, some of your, it's like, it gives you the inspiration you need again to start moving and creating and doing the things that you want to do, even if it's like on a spiritual level. Like, this really could be all about spirituality, where you're like, I'm on the spiritual journey, but I've been doing all the things that the books say, or I've been following all the, like, videos or whatever, and like, yeah, I have a lot around me. I'm very happy, but there's a sense of something missing, and I feel like, that Ace of Cups is like that renewal, that understanding, like what has been missing, or again, even seeing things in a totally new way, like seeing things for, there's no rule book. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like how I mentioned, this is a space where I don't want to like cultivate the lack mindset idea. And that's like, you can do that in your own spiritual journey. Like, if there's things that you hear people say a lot, and it's like they're just regurgitating what they've been told and what they've been taught, like, for some of you, you are a person who's able to ground the things that you feel and like turn them into something new. And I feel like that's also part of like you might not be saying what everyone else is saying, but like you don't need to. Does that make sense? Or you might not be like following a path that someone else has like said worked for them, but like you're doing the path that works for you. And again, I do feel like for some of you, this has to do with like physical affairs, or like, physical things in your house, like taking care of like business essentially. I also feel like, you're the Queen of Pentacles, like, even though she's underwater, she's very well taken care of here. She's very much someone who's like, let's think of the Queen of Pentacles. She's somebody who, cares about her health. She cares about her well-being. She can make really beautiful environments. And whether, however you identify, it's like you're somebody who's able to really, embrace kind of this like, oh, I have this nature to me. I have this like really grounded nature to me. I have these very these abilities to create things and like bring things into tangible being. And yes, like, there is something that has been hollow, but that doesn't have to stop me from enjoying those things and figuring out what is going to make that emotional connection come into place with this. You know what I mean? And again, this could be, like physically taking care of yourself. Like, if things have been quiet around you, if things have been more calm, it's like, okay, well, now I have a little bit more time to meditate, or now I have a little bit more time to cook a nicer dinner for myself, or now I have some time to go for a walk, or, now I have some time to do those art projects that I wanted to do, or whatever it is, right? Like, whatever and however it comes out for you. I really do feel like towards the end of this month, you're going to be feeling really like, it's almost like, the way I see it is like, there's a flower bud and then it just like opens up. And I feel like in the beginning of this month, you have this like really closed flower bud, and then it just like, it expands. It's funny, I'm getting like the burps, and that's just like, it's a little bit of confirmation for me, but it's also kind of, the way I see it is like, there's a shift in your solar plexus throat energy. And even though there's no swords here, because this is all very, it's like super grounded energy, like it is very, very grounded, and I feel like that's kind of a part of who you are. And I feel like, in some sense, sometimes like, you move forward, and it's like you have to stop and think about it, and that's okay. Like, you can go with things at your own pace. um and like I said, like, I feel like, at the end of this month, you're going to be feeling much like you're really like embracing some sort of like feminine energy within you, or if it's not feminine energy, it's like you're really embracing like your inner power, and you're really recognizing like how you can create things. And I feel like there's gonna be more movement, but at the same time, like, if you look at the difference in these two cards, right, like one of them's asleep, like you don't even see her face, but I feel like this is like, again, like birthing something, or like there's a lot going on here. It gives me the feeling of like having that secure home feeling, your place in the world, but it's also like growing something, and like, there's a flower. It's like really allowing yourself to, like become alive again, or open up in some way, because you can notice like she's wearing a gold dress, and like, she's very open, she's very like exposed. And I feel like there is a sense of like grounding this sort of like like this whatever you're trying to create here. Like there's something that is trying to be created, but there's some part of it that's like it's like there's something missing there, or it's like your why has been missing, or it's like you're again maybe you experienced disappointing things in the past, and because you had those disappointing experiences, there's a part of you that's like doing this, but it feels as though you're doing it because like it works, but then at the same time you're like forgetting, like it's like before those disappointing experiences happened, before all this went down, like it's like you gave yourself a part of yourself away to something, and I feel like there is something that's like being restored in that sense, where it's like you're recognizing like, okay, I gave that away, and now I'm going to take it back. Like now I'm going to call back this power. Now I'm going to be really aware of how I stand and how I can create and how I can like work with all the elements around me. And again, the Empress, it's I don't like calling it passive energy, but like the Empress is somebody who can, it's very interesting. It's like there's a passive way of approaching things, but you're still putting action into them. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like sometimes there can be this image with the Empress of like just sitting and getting everything you want, but the truth is like the Queen of Pentacles works for what she wants. And like when I say works, I think, because of society we have these like very negative connotations with that, but the way I see it is like it's just gentle action. It's like there's a knowing action, there's an intuitive action, it's grounded action though. It's like there is stuff that is like being created. I mean, and, if you think about like a woman who's pregnant, like you think how it's like you don't get pregnant and then just sit still for 9 months until you have a baby. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to be eating, you have to be like you're getting your home ready. There's like action going on. Do you know what I mean? So I hope that like makes sense in some way. I really do feel like there's this sense of like nourishment coming in for this month, and also this feeling of like, again, just feeling, yeah, look at the bottom of the deck. It's like there's a sense of like, I like how, you see the imagery I see here? So it's just like this feeling of really being able to sit and enjoy, and like, again, kind of plant that seed and allow it to grow. But in a sense, it's like you're taking care of the garden, you know what I mean? And again, just figuring out what that why is. I feel like there is a reason like why things have been so still. And look at that. Yeah. I feel like for a lot of you, it's like there's been this theme of like something happened, and it like just, it really took a lot out of you. Like, the Five of Cups to me can be like, the fives in general can be like about, at least for me personally, like about other people and your connection to other people. And there could have been like, whether there's situations or other people, whatever it is, it's like that feels as though there was something that like happened, and it like really took a lot out of you. And I feel like it kind of took the fire out of your, like the fire out of your sails. Hopefully you don't have fire in your sails. The wind out of your sails, you know what I mean? There's this feeling of like, or maybe it felt like your ship was on fire even, you know what I mean? Like it almost feels like for some of you, you were like finding your own place, you kind of had your own footing, and then it's like somebody came in and just like cut you at your knees, you know what I mean? It's like they just like they wanted to like knock you down a peg, or they wanted to like, there's, and it has nothing to do with you. Like this person was threatened, or they were jealous, or whatever the reason is. Really, it really only has to do with them. And the truth is like that their behavior in that sense says a lot more about them than it says about you. You know what I mean? I really feel like whatever, like even if it wasn't about another person, there was a situation that happened where it was like, I can see you like riding high, and then it's like, you just like, you got knocked over, essentially. Like somebody was like, I gotta take you down. I gotta take you down a peg. And I feel like it really affected you. Like whether, like however the situation was, it really did affect you. It took a really big chunk of you. And it felt very like personal and raw. And I do feel like, it's like, it's something that's been lingering for you, because the energy that I'm feeling, like, yes, it has to do with February, but it also has to do with like how, the past like 5-6 months, or, how maybe even the 5 6 years, it's like there's a feeling of like, 5 months ago, something happened, and it's like it just still really lingers on in your mind, or just really like, again, that disappointment has just like really stayed. And I feel like, again, there's like nourishment and support coming in this month, and just like also recognition of it, right? Like, yeah, okay, I was disappointed, and yeah, that really sucked, and yeah, that person did that, and I can't control that they did that, but like you're allowed to feel, how you feel about it. Like, I feel like even just allowing yourself to be disappointed, it's like the more you allow it, like without trying to like tell yourself, oh, I should forgive them, or oh, I should just move on, or whatever, like if you feel it, like it'll go away quicker. You know what I mean? And I feel like also there's just this recognition in yourself that like you gave, something away, and now you're calling it back to you. I really do feel that. Again, there's very beautiful energy here. It feels as though there's like, and it's funny, like even though there is this like really beautiful energy here, it's like it keeps pulling me back into that Five of Cups, Nine of Pentacles energy, where it's like, yeah, it's good, but there's something missing. And I feel like, the star card is like listening to your own inner guidance, your own inner, your own inner wisdom. It's like no one else can tell you what's going to make that emotional fulfillment come, right? Like this is about you really tapping into your own like inner guidance system, like your own inner compass, and seeing like what the life coach program that I went to, they would call they referred to it as people's north star. So like where you want to go is on your north, like you want to go towards your north star. And for me, my north star is tarot reading. Being a tarot reader, doing this sort of work here. So like because I know that that's my star, I know that every action I take is going to move me in that direction. Does that make sense? So it's the same for you here, where it's like you listening to that inner guidance system of like, okay, well, I know that I want to do this, or I know that this is the feeling I'm looking to evoke, or whatever that star in the sky is, that beacon of hope for you, right? It's like whatever that is, and it doesn't even have to be that deep. Keep that in mind. Like whatever that is, like if you can move in aligned action with that star, like you will reach that. You will continuously reach it. It will be something that you reach, and then you'll have to reach for again. I hope that makes sense. There is this sense of like really listening to your own inner guidance though, and like really feel like, the thing is, I'm noticing all the other stars, and I'm seeing how like there's a lot of other paths, right, that you can take to get to here, but it's like you're really just wanting to focus like, I want to go there. I feel like there's a big release, like I'm noticing like all the water, and like just like in the Ace of Cups, like the breast milk that's coming out, like there's a flow, right? Like it's almost like the dams break and things start to flow for you, and it's like you start to give yourself a little bit more grace, give yourself a little bit more, compassion for the things that have happened, and like understanding that, sometimes we just lose our spark, sometimes we lose that like meaning for why we're doing something. And I feel like this is really aligning you to that, and allowing you to create that vision for yourself, allowing you to, move again. And I really do feel like there is going to be a time during this month where like you're very still, things are very quiet, but then like I said, it's just like things start to happen, and there's a lot of activity there. And I feel like, you are going to have to keep it balanced in a sense where like the message they're giving me is like the Four of Cups. Like you're not going to take anything that's not going to fulfill you. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of the thing where it's like you're really aligning to what will fulfill you. And like even if it's just like an emotion you want to evoke, if you can feel the feeling you're trying to evoke, or find where you feel it in your day now, the more it will build upon itself. And then yeah, like I really do feel like things this month, there's a sense of like things being still, and even if things don't pick up by the end of this month, like you're heading towards a period where there is going to be this like great release. There is going to be this great like, I don't want to say it's like expansive, but it's like there's movement into this new fulfillment, new feelings of like alignment. And I feel like, really the message for you during this month is to just take it easy. Like if you're feeling really still, just know that things are working out in the best that they can. And like it's all for a reason. Like your stillness now is going to count for something later. And I feel like, where things have been really still, it's like it's not going to be like that forever. It's like enjoying the moment that you're in right now and enjoying the ability to, stay still in the sense. And again, like nurturing your dreams, nurturing the things that you want to ground, nurturing like the things that you want to see blossom and bloom, whether that's yourself or something else outside of you. Um, I really hope that this has resonated for you, and thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.